You're invited on the show. I put out a referral link. Mercy, I pray. The referral link is in the chat, and I just posted it on the screen. I also shared the referral link because people will probably have to pay for it. So take your time. I'm going for a walk. Take your time, faggot. Oops, wrong way. Sorry. Worst stream of all time. I hope it just keeps getting worse and worse. Hmm. 11, 11, 11 rechards. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, everything's good. Thanks, man. I can get one of these scooters. Yeah, everything's good. Mercy, I pray. Everything's good. I can't figure out how to turn the camera around. So YouTube's gonna have to work on that. Going to the Apple store to figure out what's wrong with my phone. It's recording me constantly. I'm looking for a place to live, you know what I mean? Just like hanging out, smoking weed, taking in the scents and sounds. It sounds like there's like oops, I'm not sure the right side. Hold on. Oh, you can't see it in there. I have the most advanced technology available anywhere, anytime on. Hey Siri, play some music. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Media assets.
What do you think of that? Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. Because this is what I do. I like it. I like informing people about stuff, about information. I like giving out information. Stop it. You're interrupting the show. What it is, my YouTube family. Doshi will hopefully be joining me for that. We just have to get the information out because it's been accrued and now it has to be expelled from the brain. I'm speculating. Maybe conspiracy theorists running amok, saying that stuff's fake. I said something was fake. I said a few things were actually. I do that from time to time, actually. It's not just a one-off thing. Any questions? When I'm stressed out, the universe changes. This one, at least, that you're joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. What it is, I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news.
That was good, right? That was a good new intro. Fire. Fire new intro from Jaron, the genius. We've upgraded all the dogs. The dogs are upgraded. They're actually smarter than us.
The AP has just broken some new news. This has just come out from the Associated Press. This is incredible. Trump administration officials have been sending babies and other young children. Oh, hold on. To at least 3. Put up the graphic of this. Thank you. Do we have it? No. 3 tender age shelters in South Texas. Lawyers and medical providers. Just, I think I'm going to have to hand this off. Yeah. Sorry. That does it for us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow. Now it is time for The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, where he is live in Brownsville, Texas.
You want to see more? What have you done, Nathan? Check. Freedom. Yes, I'm doing a walk. Yes. Record it, please.
I thought that it was a matter of real concern that planted stories intended to serve a national purpose abroad came home and were circulated here and believed here because this would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country. Now, we're looking at that very carefully.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
We have quite a lot of detailed information, and we will
The Pope is dead.
evaluate
the
it,
Pope
and
is
we
dead.
will include any
88.
evidence
April
of
20th.
wrongdoing
Easter
or any evidence of
2025.
impropriety
Niggers.
in our final report and make recommendations.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
Senator, do you think that you named the news organizations in your final report?
That remains to be decided.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
For that.
Got a couple more calls then. Let's hear from Dan in Georgetown, Massachusetts. Dan, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for having me on this morning. One thing I realized at a young age with politics in this country is that you can't really listen to what people say. It's a lot of nonsense in there. You have to look at actions, what actually happened. And I think if people kind of put their personal feelings behind and just focused on what happens, we'd be a lot better off. I feel there's a lot of personal hatred to Trump, which to me just falls in the category of hatred. You have to look at what has happened. Let's do a little comparison of our last two presidents and how they started off. Trump is out of the atmosphere as far as how well he's doing compared to the last two presidents, if you look at things side by side. That's one point. A previous caller mentioned something very important that you guys completely brushed over, and that's something that was slipped into the 2012 NDAA. It was the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act And what this has done is open the floodgates for the media to basically lie to us if it's in the best interest of the government. So what we're witnessing here is the deep state aligned with media, and they have a free pass. We're a lot of questionable things happening in this country. We got mass shootings. I'm sorry to say these things are questionable. And under this law, the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act, in reality, the government could be working with media to deceive us, and it's legal. Talk about the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act, please.
Dan, we'll let you go there. Dan in Massachusetts. Eleanor Clift, any thoughts on what you heard?
I think that sounds to be like a conspiracy theory that's alive and well. I'm not going to comment on it.
Cheryl Chumlin?
I'm not familiar with that particular act, but I will say that back in the 1950s, there was that whole Operation Mockingbird thing, which was never formally confirmed by the CIA. But of course, that was the operation where CIA operatives worked with U.S. media to shape the messages that came out of the media, and it was purportedly supposed to have hit at hundreds of journalists and reporters. And that's something that has been reported and used in different terms.
What was the message that they were trying to get across in this?
It varied. It went on for years, and it wasn't just domestic, but it was also to slant and shape how government officials worked with foreign officials as well. But don't take my word for it. Look it up.
Well, we have aspects of the government, the USIA and Voice of America, that transmit American values abroad.
I only bring it up because you say conspiracy theorist as if it's ridiculous.
Like. Well,
but at the same time,
he was tying mass shootings with the media and government interference to fool the American folk.
Right, and you're dismissing
like a lot of
conspiracy theories as if
like
they're ridiculous, but there are some things that our government has been involved in, including our deep state type government officials that have been recorded in history and proven.
Well, we have a moment or two. Let's get
and therefore that gives credence to what you said.
Let's wrap up with a call or two here.
It doesn't give credence, but it
Eddie in Millbury,
Massachusetts, just randomly dismissed.
Let's get one more. Eddie in Millbury. Good morning. Go ahead. Millbury, Massachusetts.
We have a particular obligation to examine the NSA in light of its tremendous potential for abuse. It has the capacity to monitor the private conversations of American citizens without the use of a bug or a tap. The interception of international communication signals sent through the air is the job of NSA, and thanks to modern technological developments, it does its job very well. The danger lies in the ability of the NSA to turn its awesome technology against domestic communications.
40-year-old video of the Church Committee's work. That was the chairman of the committee, Frank Church of Idaho, and immediately to his right is the then 39-year-old chief counsel to the committee, Fritz Schwartz, who is our guest joining us throughout this series. He's with us in New York. Elliot Maxwell here in Washington, D.C. Now, today, in the wake of 9/11, the NSA is something of a household word for anybody who follows the news and politics. But how well known was the agency in 1975, Mr. Schwartz?
Well, hardly at all. The NSA, the joke was that NSA stood for no such agency. It was not meant to be discussed at all, and it wasn't generally. It was to have the hearings on the NSA was one of the most hard-fought issues within the committee. I think it was a quite close vote, and again, not at all on partisan lines, about whether we should or should not have a public hearing, and we decided to have a public hearing. I remember speaking to the general counsel of the NSA when we began getting information and indicating we needed to get more information, and he said to me, "But the Constitution does not apply to the National Security Agency." That was an interesting idea, that the Constitution didn't apply to a whole agency. I think I know what was in the back of his mind, that their work was meant to be foreign. They were meant to be doing things overseas, largely. And my rejoinder to him was, of course the Constitution applies to the NSA when you're doing things that affect Americans and affect Americans within America.
With respect to wholly domestic communications, is there any statute that prohibits your interception thereof, or is it merely a matter of your internal executive branch directives?
My understanding, Mr. Schwartz, is that at least the National Security Council Intelligence Directive defines our activities as foreign communications, and that we have adopted a definition for foreign communications consistent with the Communications Act of 1934, and therefore I think that is the...
All right, but you believe you're consistent with the statutes, but there isn't any statute that prohibits your interception of domestic communications?
I believe that's correct.
How to affirm the importance of the secret security agencies, how to make sure they don't go beyond their writ, and how to ensure that the rights of Americans are protected in a world in which there's danger, and by agencies that are by necessity secret, but also because they're secret are potentially dangerous to the rights of Americans and to the well-being of the United States.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. I told you it's the worst show ever. I told you. This is the nicest gas station I've ever been to in my entire life.
We are at war with Russia. Or perhaps more correctly, we have lost a war with Russia without a battle. We are no longer a sovereign nation. We are no longer a democracy. We are no longer a free people. We are the victims of a bloodless coup. So far, a bloodless coup engineered by Russia with, at best, the traitorous indifference of the Republican Party and Donald John Trump, a man who, to borrow a phrase from another December long ago, will live in infamy. In 5 weeks' time, unless desperate measures are taken, we will hand over the government to a man who lost the popular vote by more than Woodrow Wilson or Jimmy Carter won it, a man whom the Russians wanted to run our country for them, a man whom the Russians got to run our country for them, a man for whom the Russians interfered with our elections, which if we did it to another country would be described as an act of war. And in this country, we have conceded defeat. Some experts, John Kasich's strategist, John Weaver for one, have compared this to Pearl Harbor. Even the hard-right ex-Congressman Joe Walsh says Republican silence will be tantamount to treason. Some others, too, have proved courageous. Trump, self-destructive to the last, issued a childish statement mocking the CIA, but as Tim Dickinson of Rolling Stone noted, not denying anything. But the vast majority of Republicans have said nothing. And the vast majority of Democrats have said nothing. And the vast majority of the media has said nothing of substance. And the president has said nothing close to enough. The CIA and FBI and Homeland Security, the institutions whose interest in freedom we on the left most frequently distrust, they have said something. They said it first to congressional and Senate Republicans in September. Dire warnings, warnings that Mitch McConnell and other Republicans reportedly buried, warnings that the Russians
is
using
Trump the
computer hacking
president?
and perhaps
You
other
faggots.
means. We're not merely trying
Is
to
Trump
discredit
actually
the
president?
election, but
You
to
stupid
achieve the
Republican
specific outcome
Democrat
of electing
retards?
their man Trump. And finally, At the very last
You
hour,
idiots.
some of those who did those briefings and some of those who
You
received those
thought you could
briefings
win?
leaked the
You
details
thought
to
you
the
could
New York
win?
Times, the Washington
You
Post, CBS News,
idiots.
Reuters, in a
You
torrent
didn't
of
believe
anguished
me?
honesty. They said something. They
You
said
didn't
something
believe
as the
me,
president
right?
not elect began to veer towards appointing as Secretary of State, as
Nobody
our
fucking
diplomatic
believed
face to
it.
the world, the CEO of Exxon, who 4 years ago received the Order of Friendship from Vladimir Putin. They said something as the members of the Electoral College prepared to gather next Monday to finalize this coup. Some, perhaps unaware that almost half the states they represent permit them by law to vote for someone other than the candidate to whom they are pledged, and that only 38 of them need to do so to prevent this coup. They said something as one especially chilling detail in one of the reports sailed by that, quote, the Russians hacked the Republican National Committee's computer systems in addition to their attacks on Democratic organizations, but did not release whatever information they gleaned from the Republican networks. It is a short leap from that conclusion, and it is anything but a conspiracy theory to be wondering if the Russians hacked the RNC and have kept what they found there to make sure Trump and the Republicans obeyed. The President of the United States, who at this rate will be the last freely elected President of the United States, made in his measured way a small gesture last Friday that perhaps opened the door to these horrifying revelations of a coup by an outside power nearly complete. He asked for a full review, but we do not have time for a full review. Barack Obama has twice stood in front of America, in front of the world, in front of history, and said, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Today is the time for him to do so. He must immediately declassify and release all relevant materials held by the FBI, the CIA, DHS, and the other intelligence and security services, and in the White House, and anywhere else in government. And the Attorney General must immediately appoint a special prosecutor to investigate what Donald Trump knew and when he knew it, and what, if any, collusive links exist now or existed earlier between the Russian Federation and the...
What? What? I can't hear you. What are you saying? What? What? I can't just listen to music? Living here? Who are you? Never seen you before. I invited guests. What are you all sleeping? Taking a shower? Going to church? I hope so. All of the above, I hope. Fucking dirty, filthy pigs. The worst show of all time. No one has any idea what's happening because you're moving back and forth in time. You have no idea who I am, where I am, or what the fuck is going on. Because you're me. And I don't know. I like it this way. Mom, you fucking idiot. Dad, you retard. My brother, Aaron, all Aarons, you're all retarded. All of you. Oh, yeah, you're pretty smart now. Now that I did all the work, yeah, sure. Now you're smart. Now you're wealthy. Now you don't care about money. Now, fucking idiots. Who the fuck do you think you are? Honestly, who the fuck do you think you are? Happy birthday, faggot. My mom thinks I'm a black faggot. That's who my mom thinks I am. She thinks I'm a tall, black, gay guy. Yeah. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Okay. Thanks for your help, idiots. You'll never understand. You'll never get here. Ever.